Are the Jaguars a mess?
Jaguars are a hot mess. You look at the Jaguars and the expectations coming off the AFC Championship game. Some people suggested, and I think they internalized, that they should have won that game if they stayed aggressive in the second half. And what happens is when you start to think like that, oh, we should have had that one, we get them next time, is that you don't go back to square one. And square one is how they got to the AFC Championship game with that vaunted defense and the running game. And what you're seeing now, especially the last 2 weeks, is time of possession coming back to kill this team. No Leonard Fournette. All of a sudden, you can't pound them. When you can't pound them, the defense that is so great is on the field to the tune of 38 minutes for the Cowboys. And then you look at the KC game, their tongues are hanging out of their mouth, and all of a sudden, they're not talking to trash. They're out there looking like trash. So I think right now, time of possession, no running game is starting to erode this team.
I watched that game. I love the way Dak Prescott played. And again, didn't throw for a bunch of yards, but the 80-some-odd rushing yards coupled with the 182 in the air, I think the game was more about the Cowboys finding themselves and the Jaguars being a little bit of one-hit wonders last year.
You know, I look at the game and go with the Dallas Cowboys first. I enjoyed watching Dak play the way he played, all right? And I say that because he got to the first read, he went to the second read, and then he got out. And then that's who Zach is. He's not going to throw for 350 yards. He's not going to have those big games like that. He'll have a couple here and there in his career, but he should be comfortable with that. And then you give the ball to Zeke, has to touch the ball 25 to 30 times in the game, either rushes and passes. And he had 25. He had 24 rushes, 1 reception. So if they can stay within that mantra, that offense will be okay, because that defense is a lot better than I thought it was going to be. It really is. It really is. And then, but when you look in Jacksonville, I think their defense is still good. They're not as good as what everybody thought they were going to be this year. You can't just show up and think you're going to be the best team in the National Football League week in and week out. But my key is for them is that I never been a fan of, and I never believed in Blake Bortles being that star quarterback who could take this team to the next level. When you watch him play, he's the weak link of that whole football team. And if they don't have a backup quarterback and they don't have an answer to that to help this defense outside of the running game, it's going to be a long year for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I agree with you what you said about Dak for sure. This is what you need to do. Because my new benchmark for quarterbacks in the NFL is you got to have 250 yards. But the rules, the way they're set up, you should be able to get 250 yards unless you are out there running for over 50 yards. Then you can have below that 200-yard mark. And him, I think he's had 1 game over 200 yards in the last 6, 7 games going back to last year. So use your feet, Dak. And that's the only way I will buy you as a franchise quarterback from here on out. And then looking at the Jacksonville Jaguars, I think the worst thing to ever happen to them was to come out and play so well against New England that second game. But that was fool's gold, because that wasn't the New England team that we see now. And they got all big a little bit. And then Strahan talks about this. He said, when people have great success, AFC Championship games, Super Bowls, the hardest thing coming back next year is every player on that team thinks, we made it because of me. And when you have that attitude, that slows your progress down. And I think this is what's going on with Jacksonville. Ramsey is getting all that attention. Everybody thinks it's because of me that we got there. And now all of a sudden, that attitude creeps up on you. I had it. We went to NFC Championship game. We came back. I think we won 2 games the next year. It happens. This is why teams are so different from year to year.
Same might be true with the Philadelphia Eagles. That's a story for another day. All right, to a big story in the AFC North.